they have to feel they're winning. And there would be very few people outside of that group that would be looking at these things. But what it does is it entrenches those that are in there even more, so that, you know, we don't want that to happen to us. So that means that when someone is targeted like you were, and others that have left, as we know, but that's their way of really consolidating the few members they've got, knowing that they believe the power the leaders have is totally distorted in their way of, I guess, acting out that power. They believe truly that they are the be-all, end-all of what they can give to people. But in a way, they are the ultimate in narcissism, if you like, in not being able to admit that what they're doing is absolutely fabrication. It's lies, it's deception, it's total, it's harassment in the worst way. It's legally wrong to put up something that is totally not been validated, to write confessions and to not be able to read what you've so-called said, you know, and they keep all of those and make them up of what, you know. So I think, yeah, that's looking at a very high end of harm, and thankfully at this point it's not a big group, and I don't think it will grow, because I think people can check that out.
Yes, I think it's very unethical.
It's totally unethical.
So how can you put up, like, you know, because it tried to make that person look bad?
If there was ethics in these groups, if there was true ethics, if there was true love, if there was true concern, if there was true liberation of the mind to question what you're being taught in a setting where you're talking in a group, you will say, well, I don't believe that. I can't, give me evidence of that. Give me something that I can see. You're saying something that sounds wonderful, but how can that happen? We have to question those things rather than just say, well, if I believe them, they're going to help me. They're going to get me to that place where I'm reaching nirvana, where I'm reaching paradise, where I'm reaching heaven. Do you know what I mean? All of those promises, how are they being done? Question that and say, hang on, could this just be fake? Could this be just made up? And I think that's what, tragically, our minds can be taken to, and that's a lesson, I think, that we can all learn.
Definitely, it was a big lesson, because till the end, even myself, I have this suicidal tendency, because with all this psychological abuse I went through, I feel like, you know, I want to die, because I couldn't take it anymore. It's too much, because they put words into your mouth and they twist so many things. But this is just one of the manipulation they are good at, and they just displaying what they're capable of. And so funny is they actually accuse me I'm a narcissist. Yeah, so I didn't know why. And then I checked I did the research only recently, you know, like in the recent couple months, and I just realized, wow, this is exactly what narcissists would do. They accuse you because they want to distract people from seeing themselves.
They are. It's a distraction, and it's something they've picked up as a buzzword. You know, I think, you know, there's this type of narcissist, that type. No one knows unless you're psychologically trained and have had an appointment with someone to really pick the traits. They're often hidden because they're very well at hiding by being loving on one hand and then totally overpowering you on the next. And we know there's enough examples around now, but, you know, a buzzword in a group often is one way that they start to manipulate and control. So lots of funny words. Loaded language. There's always loaded language. They have their own language. They talk about being a brother or a sister, or they talk about being, you know, a lot of the language that starts to come through in some of the groups, you can identify they're all saying the same thing in the same way. So loaded language stops us thinking in terms of real language, how we communicate honestly, with each other, it tends to put us in another secret sort of way, or we know what each of us are saying. We know what that means, but there's no real meaning that can be checked out from that.
I mean, if you want to educate the public about narcissists, you should put in a positive way. But instead of putting down someone to display, you know, the product of manipulation, it's just totally.
They're not interested in that, and that's what sometimes you have to sort of come out knowing that you can't change the situation that happened to you, but you've been able to use it for good. And that's what a lot of wonderful people who've come out have gone on to do, is really to spread that, their experience, but also to share a lot of that with people through, you know, how they feel. And if they come out and have a year's break, often people need that, but they certainly do need support. And sadly, a lot of them don't perhaps find that, so they go around with that within them. But just to help people, CIFS does have 2-day workshops every year, and it's all about, you know, coming through some of those obstacles that still can be there even years after. So it's good to know that, you know, in a limited way, we are able to do things. We would love to be able to do more, you know, that.
And I think it's very helpful to give self some break after leaving the cult group, because all your values, you know, your belief system is collapsing. Because there will be, for myself, there will be certain a period of time you don't know what's right or wrong, because what you believe before, when you believe what is real is actual deception. It's when you will think about what's real or not. It took me a while to break down what I used to believe and start to pick up pieces and come back to what's resonate with me. And you know, there's a period. So don't think about jumping into another group quickly.
No.
If you still need support, I think it's good to go for professional, like a psychologist or like cult support group. If you still need some spiritual group, you can look around, but it's just for the purpose of see what they're offering. Because if you have the experience, you know how to identify, and you just have to look with extra care. And then don't easily jumping into a group. You know, you can just take a workshop, it's okay. You just pick up something, you know, you want to explore, but you have variety. You don't just jump into one party, because you jump into another hole again, a trap easily, because you need some broader range of information for you to decide what works for you, what's not. Because we all living, you know, we need support, you know, in different levels. So you know what you need, but I think it's very important to give yourself some time to cool down, and because there could be a lot of aftercare, you know, like after you exit the group,
aftercare is a good way.
You need to build up yourself, and then back to your normal life. And because some people might went through some depression period, like myself, went through some time that I don't know what can I do, you know, like I was used to be so motivated, so driven with my passion to share, you know, some like all this whatever I learned. But when you find, you know, it was a deception, then I say, what? You know, it's very hard.
It's hard, but I do think that it's important too that if you can join a group that is a support type group with other people who've been through cults, it's like, my goodness, that's so similar. And that's what we've come to understand through a lot of studies. And a lot of the psychologists that are now truly looking at how people can be helped more quickly through getting that education when they come out. And there's some wonderful websites
Yes.
There's people that have put on how the dynamics are used, how you know, and that relates to you and go, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. There's masses of people that are being pulled into these groups that look great, have a tasty outer layer, which we often say, and it looks healthy, it looks magic, it looks, you know, inspiring, it looks, all these things have been words that former members have written about the group they originally got into. But in the end, it's there for the power of the person who set up the group that is a split from something else. And so that's a great to recover and to meet with others.
So I think it's very important to if you need support, there should be a group showing you how to take your power back. Is you are the creator, you decide what your life, like you decide what you want to do. You don't give your power away, like, oh, I trust someone and they decide my future. No, it's not. It should be a support group showing you how you can develop yourself, be confident. People get involved in this sort of supporting group because it's helping you to be independent, to be more complete, but not rely on someone. Because when you start to rely on someone, you give your power away. That should be the support group should be telling you how you can make yourself better. You have the right to choose. You have the right to decide. And it's your, of course, we take the responsibility, what we choose, how we want to live our life. And that's very important. It's not to giving your power away, because that's where the control coming from, stopping by giving power away with, you know, different sorts of manipulation, you can say, you know. And I think this is very important to know about.
I think that's well said.
Thank you, Ros, for today, spending some time with us and sharing so much useful information. So I'll include some resources in my description section, so you can always check them out and leave your feedback or comments or any questions you want to know regarding our call group or any support system. And hopefully we'll see Ros in my sometime in my future video. So we'll see you next time. Thank you, Ros.
It's been my pleasure, and I do hope this resonates with some people and that they know there's always help, and you've always got the freedom to be who you are and to be the person that you are, a special person in your own right. So don't let anyone else usurp your personal freedom in a way that is going to help others and be loving and kind. So it's been great talking, Joy.
Thank you, Ros. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.